I hear my friends telling, welcome to the dark side, Gert. Good evening and welcome to the Whisky Lover Society with me, Gert Retief. And tonight it's all about the whisky, the nosing, the tasting, for me to decide do I like it or not. And of course we are talking about the Port Askaig, Askaig. Very difficult to pronounce. I'm not sure if I'm butchering it or I'm pronouncing it correctly. Or is it Port Askaig? Well, whichever it is, we are going to nose it and we are going to taste it. So just a little bit on the whiskey. This is not a history channel, so if you want more information with regards to the background of this whiskey, of course, this is definitely not a channel for you. For me, it's about the nosing and the taste. So it is bottled at 45.8% ABV. I do appreciate a little bit of a higher ABV. It's an 8-year-old whiskey, so I do put an age statement on it, and I do appreciate that as well. It is a single malt. Of course, it comes from the Islay region, so that means a little bit of a peated one. So I've been warming up to the peated ones, the Port Charlottes. Oh my word, it's lovely. The Octomore that I tasted the other day, the 6.1. Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. I was worried about this high peated one. I think it's 167 ppm parts per million on the phenols, and that was absolutely fantastic. But on this one as well, non-chill filtered, no color added. And of course, I will give you a little bit of a preview. As you can see, definitely no color added. It is one of the palest whiskies that I've seen in a long time. It's a little bit of a white wine, a very light white wine color to it. Of course, it is a sourced whiskey. I'm not sure where it comes from. And of course, when they do the bottling by the company, and the company, if I remember correctly, is a specialist drinks company or limited. They are the ones that do the bottling on this one. So I'm not going to try to figure out which is the distillery. For me, it's not important. It's all about the nosing, and of course, it's all about the tasting. Cost-wise, this bottle will cost you around 48 euros. So enough about the whiskey itself. On the nose, cheers. This is a very strange one for me. I do like it, but it's got this little a note to it that I haven't picked up on the Octomore or the Lefroy or all those Islay whiskies. And the first thing that I do get is I got the alcohol. Definitely a strong, youthful, rugged, a little bit over the top type of nose. That alcohol gives a real big hit to it. So definitely going to add a little bit of water to this one. And then what I do get is a little bit of a, we have some sweets that my son actually bought for me a while ago, and I think he got it in Holland, and that is licorice, or salted licorice. And I got that same salted licorice on the nose. Was not a fan of the taste of that. It was a little bit too salty for me. But this is what I get on the nose. Salted licorice. I will put a picture up so that you can see what it looks like. And then I get that sweet, salty notes coming out on it as well. It is really, really nice. And it's a nice sweetness. And the smoke or the peat is definitely not offensive. It's a really mellowed, comforting, reminds you of a day at the beach, of somebody making a barbecue somewhere on the beach, and every now and again you get a little bit of that smoke. The alcohol, definitely big on the alcohol. It does change a little bit. So every time when I do go back, last night I did also spend a little bit of time with this one. And it did change. So I also get a hint of a charcoal. Sometimes when you make a barbecue, especially with this Weber type of barbecues, where you put the lid on and you close all the vents, and the charcoal will all died off, but it leaves the charcoal briquette still intact. And when you open up that the next day, you get that little bit of a charcoal notes coming out. Something similar to that for me as well. This is absolutely fantastic. And after a little bit of time, I get a little bit of a hint of a lemon a rind or lemon zest coming out. So it's a little bit of a citrus note as well in the end. And the funniest thing is what I also got is a little bit of a banana. So when you make a slit in a banana, you put it on a fire, and you put some of this caramel, bits of caramel in it, and you let it nice heat up with the fire, and that caramel bits start melting into the banana. So something like that I also get in the end. Absolutely fantastic. That hint of that chocolateness, chocolate bits also coming in. I'm not sure I've ever had somebody explaining or telling that they find these notes in this Islay whiskies, but for me, this is now absolutely fantastic, and that's something that I do appreciate on this one. But of course, you need to taste it as well. So hopefully, the taste will the nose will translate into the taste. So on the taste, cheers. Yeah. Immediately, the smokiness is there. A little bit of an iodine note to it. Not offensive. There's a lovely sweetness coming out. That alcohol, I do get it. It feels a little bit higher than that 45.8. So it creeping up towards the 50% ABV. But it's still, for me, it's quite drinkable without the water. Let me just give it one more try. Definitely that youthfulness of the alcohol is there. That little bitey in it, a little bit of a chili note coming out. And it's definitely telling me that it is a young whiskey. Although I suppose today, 8-year-olds is in the whiskey world, it's not so young anymore, but it's definitely telling me that it is not a nice, old, mature whiskey. There's a hint of an oak as well, but just a hint. And of course, for somebody like me, that I do not love the oakiness in some of the whiskies, this is still very perfect. Also a little bit of an oily mouthfeel to it. Let me just give it another try. So there's definitely an oiliness, even going into a little bit of a creamy note for me. It's a lovely sweetness of it. And that little campfire thing going at the back. I do like this one. And of course, while I'm saying all these words, and the last 3 or 4 videos where I'm talking about the Islay whiskies and the smoky whiskies and the peated whiskies, and it goes here in my ear, I hear my friends telling, welcome to the dark side, Gert. A lot of my friends like the smoky whiskies, like the peated whiskies, and I was never a fan. And I know all of them are cheering me on. Yep, now you are part of the clan. And absolutely part of this clan. I think it is a nice whiskey. I think it is a fantastic whiskey, especially for beginners that haven't had any of this big peated. And I think my mistake was starting off with the Ardbeg 10 and the Lefroy. And I think that was a little bit too much. And I worked myself up gradually with the Yoshi, the less peated ones, and some of the Amrut, but it's got a nice, sweet, light peated ones. And I slowly worked myself up. And of course, the highest one was the Octomore 6.1. And I think building up that taste profile, of course, was for me a much easier way to progress into the bigger peated ones. So maybe it's a good idea to start low. And if I can venture, Port Charlotte, oh my word, that is absolutely fantastic. That is the perfect starter one. And I think this one will be the second one on the tier for me. Port Askaig, just to see to go a little bit higher with the PP. And then, of course, you end up with the octomores. Could be a long journey. For me, it was quite a long journey for many, many years to get to this stage. But I did love it. So this one, I'm going to add just a little bit of water. I do have some water in my bottle. And I'm not going to add too much of the water. You can see that on the level. This is still, I think, about maybe 20 milliliters. So I'm just going to add in 5 milliliters. I think that should be more than enough. Just to bring some of the alcohol levels or the alcohol notes down. Yeah, and I think that is a good idea. So the first thing that I do pick up is a less smoke on it. Maybe it's for the people that love to smoke, maybe that's not a good idea. But for me, that is lovely. There's a lovely sweetness coming out, definitely more sweet, less smoke. And I get more of the citrus notes coming out. And also that lemon lime type of citrus note. And I still get a little bit of a salted licorice. And maybe a little bit of a briny note also in the end. Oh, I love this one. And of course, I think that's enough water. But I think you can add a little bit more. If I do agitate it a little bit, I do still get that warmth or that alcohol sting on the nose. So absolutely fantastic with a little bit of water on the nose, on the taste. Cheers. Perfect. Wow. Lovely sweet, light smoke. That citrus lemon, maybe something like a lemon custard with a little bit of a smoke on the back. Sounds a little bit weird, but wow, this is really fantastic. It's still a little bit of an oiliness, but now it's more like a nice oily with a bit of a creamy note to it in the end. And the sweetness just building up. Still very little oak in the back. I do love this one. I would suggest if you do add water, do not add too much water. Last night also I add a little bit too much, and then it feels like you just chopped off all the nice nosing and tasting notes. So be very careful with the water. Just add enough water until you're satisfied. A little bit at a time until you have reached the perfect level for yourself. Still, with the water in, just to make sure. Still with the water in, I get that lovely heat of the alcohol still, and a lovely little bit of a chilly note. That little bit of a heat building in the mouth and just covers your whole mouth with this nice hot feeling. So for me, on this one you have a big choice. You can proof it down a little bit. You can stay as you get it, or you can add a little bit of water until you find the perfect solution for yourself. Definitely something that I would drink without adding water, but of course it's your whiskey. You pay for it, you can drink it the way that you like it. So quick finish note. So I got a lovely sweetness, I got a little bit of a smoky note, I get a little bit of a salty note, a little bit of a licorice note, the alcohol with a nice chilly warm effect, a little bit of that lemon zest coming in, and then the sweetness in the end as well. And it just lingers with a nice sweet smoky note, and it's quite a medium to long finish. It just stays and lingers in the mouth. Absolutely fantastic. So I love it, and I will definitely recommend it for somebody that like to start with the smoky ones. This is one of them, and you can link them to the Port Charlotte that I had, the 10-year-old, the Port Charlotte Islay Barley, Oh, absolutely fantastic. The Octomore, oh, that for me was also quite special. And I'm looking forward to drinking some more of the Islay whiskies within the next month or two. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. You've come this far. So I appreciate it if you can just ring the bell, give it a like, and of course subscribe. And I see you next time. Cheers.